morning, everyone. I have just had 4 false starts, and all I was trying to say was a thank you to everyone who has subscribed recently and welcome. And I was also trying to say thank you to everybody and anybody who has commented or subscribed in the past, because it is very heartwarming, and I hope you feel welcome too, as you make me feel welcome. I did it, big girl me. Your reading today is their deepest thoughts and secret desires. You've got pile number 1, pile number 2 and pile number 3. So if you want to take your choice, and I will give you some very bad corny elevator music and we'll get going. Right, pile number 1. I'm going to go through this bit by bit until it starts feeling right, and then I'm going to try and sort of put it into order in my head so it makes sense to you. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking of straight away. This person makes me think as having quite a predatory influence on you, or a feeling on you. Somebody who is watching and who has quite what I would say quite a powerful feeling or aura about them, and you're coming across as somebody who could probably match them like that, but you're almost just watching and waiting. It makes me feel like 2 animals who are circling each other. And I'm wondering whether it's quite complicated as well, because you have the Mask card here. I should tell you what position that comes into, what it means to me. And there's a feeling of, these are just my feelings at the moment. I need to go through each part bit by bit. And there's a real feeling of not being in the situation, or not letting your feelings or thoughts be expressed as yet. It's like a rumbling energy that is almost bubbling up. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. I wonder whether with this 8 of Wands at the back of the pack, whether you've only just communicated, or whether you've just had some sort of get together, whether it's online or, God, that's awful, isn't it? Get together online. Some sort of communication that has sparked an interest and a real sort of sexy, exciting feeling. Let me go through the cards bit by bit and then we'll sum it up. The real situation where you stand, you've got the Page of Wands. So as far as you're concerned, it's that feeling of moving forward on your own, and it makes me think very much of somebody who's very independent and very courageous in some way, because this bird here, it's got a quite dark feeling to it, but it's a feeling of knowing and understanding, bravery and courage, and it's just going straight up towards the moon. So it makes me think of somebody who almost, your person's giving me a feeling of being quite tough. Not in a bad way, but in a real sort of what I would say an Aries feel. Just somebody who is straightforward, gets things done and doesn't overthink things. And I think that you probably match them, not so much in the overthinking, because you seem to be very aware of what's going on, but you seem to be very tough or very dog with a bone with regards to where you want to go. This bird and the moon and the flight towards the moon and the awareness here. So from the situation where you stand, it's an understanding and a real courageous feel about it. A feel, it's almost like a bring it on feel. I know what this situation could, where this situation could lead, you know, what's needed to get there, especially with this card at the end. But it's like, I'm going to do it anyway, because I'd rather not fanny around with life. It's that type of feeling. Right, your person's coming across as, I think, it's holding their card close to their chest. I was looking at Tarot Ingi's YouTube channel yesterday. I do love Tarot Ingi. And she was saying that the 2 of, oh no, it was the 2 of Swords. Sorry, Tarot Ingi. I was just saying your praises, but with the wrong card. The Two of Wands here makes me think of somebody who is just about to set something in motion and feeling electricity, especially with the Eight of Wands here. There's that real feeling of feist and movement just about to start, where it's actually just becoming a little bit electric. It's like, what am I trying to say? I can feel it, but I can't say it. It's like a spark. It's like lighting a latch. Oh my God, I can't speak. Sorry, it's really early. It's like lighting a match. It's that initial spark that's just started. And it feels good and it feels exciting. I know it's not Uranus, but it has that feel of just right at the beginning of a situation where there's friction. Not like that, but there's like friction and it's just about to catch light. Their thoughts, this baffled me a bit because the whole reading is about their thoughts and secret desires, and the feeling that they're coming across as quite tough. And I think that you are probably of similar nature in the fact that you can take quite a lot on and you're quite stimulated by competition in some way, or a real sort of having to chase something. That Aries feel of having to conquer something is what brings them to life. I'm not saying that you're Aries, but there's that feeling that it excites you. But their thoughts and feelings, I'm not thinking. Which once again gave me that fiery feel because I put 2 cards on that. Then I got the Lovers. So yeah, I am feeling, but it seems to be like, and the Four of Cups again, makes me think of somebody who is quite sexual in some way and doesn't overthink. Somebody who desires somebody and that's enough. It's not the case of you want to overthink it. Somebody to me who has more fire than air or water, possibly. No, probably more fire than air. Where sex is very important. And it's quite funny because I was thinking about this morning, and I was thinking about, these are family members who I won't discuss because I know I get quite personal sometimes, and I regret it later, think, oh my God, what did I say? But family members, or just somebody who books a hotel, perhaps they've got kids who are young and then will never consider having, even if they're babies, in the same room as them because it would just ruin their sex life. That type of feeling, that type of feeling that life has to have some sexual component to feel like it's alive. That was another thought as well I had, and I was thinking that, I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, this is it. This isn't so personal. I try not to be personal, but I always end up somebody like this type of person. If the sex isn't good, the relationship isn't moving forward. I have friends like this who have had bad sex with somebody, and it's just ended straight away. I got thinking that is just so mean. Anyway, I'm getting a real fiery feel from your person, somebody who doesn't like to overthink, somebody who's beginning to feel the excitement. Initially, it's basically in their pants, and then this is beginning to grow. Okay, let's get this one for their feelings. Yeah, their feelings are watching. This is the Eight of Swords, so it speaks of anxiety, but I don't get an anxious feeling from this person. I'm trying to literally take it from the picture of somebody who feels like they've got a challenge. These swords are like in front of the polar bear. Is it polar bear? Yeah, the polar bear's coming. I always say this every time there's another one similar. The polar bear's coming up and thinking, I've got to get through this, I've got to get through this. So I don't think it's the Eight of Swords' normal interpretation of anxiety, because this to me makes me feel of the fiery feel of liking a challenge, seeing you as a challenge, feeling the excitement and trying to basically conquer it. Conquer that type of feeling. Now their desires... This is such a complicated pack. I actually wanted to put this back when it came out because nature, I thought, because it's not the normal, like Rider-Waite sort of pip cards or the major arcana, and then I got the starseed on it. So this is what I'm thinking from this. From somebody who's quite sexual, somebody who likes to have a bit of a challenge in life, there's a real feeling of a natural contact, of something, the starseed card here, of something that they recognise in you. And I know it makes me feel of like nodal contacts or just something. Have you got the 6? Yes, I knew you would have. You have got, it's magic. The Six of Cups here. You have got that feeling from this person that they know you. They know you from somewhere before. There's that sort of, I don't know how much contact you've had. There's that ease of contact. It almost makes me think here, the Six of Cups and this at the bottom of the pack, that your initial contact, your initial conversation has been like fireworks, where you have just felt like it was somebody you've known for ages, even if you've just met them. And this person has probably taken that completely wrong way and just something sexual, nice. But this is a real feeling of connection. And I wonder whether your person is very much the person who likes life to be big and exciting and is seeing it as a sexual opportunity. Not in a bad way. It's just somebody who hasn't thought about it yet. I mean, people fall in love different ways. Some people fall in love and have sex first, and then that needs to be the main focus of the relationship, and other people fall with their emotions first. And this person makes me think of somebody who's quite sexual and falls in love with the physicality of a relationship first. But then there's no denying here, there's a real connection. I think that's almost taken them aback a little bit. A real sort of, my God, I feel like I know that person. And it's the type of person who would let you know that. It's the type of person who may have, depends how long your contact's been going on, have told you, you feel really familiar to me. The future influences are the Lovers. So this is almost like trying to hold back a horse in this pile. It makes me feel like this person's not going to be afraid to come forward, and I wonder whether the relationship is going to tumbleweed into something fairly quickly. With the Lovers card here, it makes me think that the physical attraction is quite strong. This person's playing with it in their mind. So the desire is strong, but there's that connection that's probably confusing them, that's almost bringing an emotional component, and they're initially taken away with the desire rather than their thoughts. The Lovers card here, following all these sort of feisty physical attraction feel that I've got so far, makes me think that this person almost like calms him or herself down later on to actually begin to think a bit more, because this thinking card here, there's not much going on thinking wise. It's all physical thinking, but without denying there's a real connection here. And it's almost as if this person calms down and starts to reflect slightly. This person may not be somebody who likes to reflect or think very much at all. You just know people like that, don't you? And there's people I know who have almost disgusted by people that overthink, or just get on with it, that type of feeling. Right, their intentions are, at the moment, although it does turn into the Lovers, at the moment it's almost like they intend to mesmerise you in some way. There's this feeling of watching, feeling of waiting, feeling of connection, feeling of wanting to develop into something like the Lovers, something probably very passionate. You've had the Lovers twice here, but at the moment it's got that sort of strutting around, it's like a peacock dance at the moment, I think, with this card here, because of this cobra here with the I always say mongoose. I don't know, I'm sure I've googled if there is such a word as mongoose. Mongooses? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Anyway, it makes me feel of a bird. What's the word? You know when the birds fluff themselves up and they do those sort of like dances to get them mate? It makes me feel of that. That sort of, your person seems very physically straightforward. Somebody who doesn't try to hide their physicality. Somebody who's very forthright and quite forceful. And not in a bad way, but forceful as in like, why would you try and hide it type of way. If you're attracted to somebody, why would you try and hide it? The best outcome to this, this is where it slightly changes, because the best outcome to this is if it's going to be I'm going to say a long haul. The reason I'm saying that is it feels a games. It feels a little bit of playing here because there's masks here for the best possible outcome. And you've got the Four of Pentacles here for making me feel it's going to be sort of a long partner dance. And then this person trying to puff themselves up a little bit. This makes me think of somebody who's got a really strong ego. A strong ego and a strong sexuality in some way. Let me just go through the last bits, then we'll start pulling all together. Your most likely outcome to this. Now this card here, the Nine of Swords, makes me think of this tough long haul with regards to bringing the relationship to fruition. The Nine of Swords is a little turtle on the beach and the waves are coming in. And you know when you're out in the waves and it actually just rises before it gets to you and it feels quite fearsome. It's as if a relationship... Yeah, it's as if a relationship runs away with you that feels quite karmic and you feel the connection, and it is like a sliding down a whirlpool. It's as like you're circling at the top of this whirlpool at the moment. You two are dancing around. You can feel the attraction. You can feel the excitement. This person's thinking, well, hey, sexual attraction. And then you both get sucked into it. And it's almost as if there's no coming back. But at the moment, it's going through the initial stages of going around the top and dancing and playing and not letting each other know initially. This person is less... I wonder whether it's you. I wonder whether it's you. Because your person's coming across as quite fiery to me. Quite straightforward, quite honest, quite adventurous, quite... forthright in their sexuality. You're coming across as somebody a little bit more secretive, possibly somebody who may like to flirt. You know, somebody who knows what they're wearing. Possibly because you've got the High Priestess down here for you with regards to desires, and they've got the King of Wands here. So the High Priestess makes me think of somebody who has a real sort of subtle approach to sexuality. Somebody who can read people. It's like knowing what that person desires, and then you almost pick your clothes, or you can change. It's not so much Pisces. You can change who you are because you know it catches them. It's like, you know how to use your net, if you know what I mean. And it's working. It's working really well. Well done. Right, let me start looking at this to make it flow a little bit easier if possible. The real situation. So here you are very aware of what's going on. They're very aware of what's going on. You're coming across as being a little bit more composed. They're coming across here with regard to their feelings as seeing you as a challenge. And you are very good at that. I think you match each other on your toughness and your directness. You don't use it. And I think your ability to be very focused and get what you both want out of life. You see it more in what I would say a Scorpio way, toughness but with subtlety. This person sees it as in a challenge and an excitement, and they're not going to stop until they've got what they want. They can feel the initial attraction, which to me feels very electric with these two cards here. It's almost as if there's been some sort of contact. You've both felt the pull. It's like pushing and pushing and pulling. That's not pushing, that is pulling. It's just that feeling of electricity. It's like being sucked towards a magnet, and neither of you can help it. The connection with regards to, was it thinking, wasn't it? Yeah, their thoughts. To me, there aren't that many thoughts. It's just physicality. It's just that feeling of this pull must be sexual. It must be physical. It's somebody who's looking at your butt when you're walking away. That type of feeling. You know, you've had a conversation, and there you're perhaps looking in their eyes, seeing what they're trying to think. They feel a connection which they just feels natural, and then they're looking at your butt when you've turned around. It's that type of feeling. But the strange thing with this person, with this really strong fiery feeling, this sexual feel, has a real, which must feel unusual to them, of a real feeling of a connection that runs very deep. And this path does make me think of a relationship that is almost inevitably going to happen. But at the moment, you are both going through these two cards are quite as if you're almost climbing a hill. It's as if you are the mountain goats that are enjoying the challenge of getting to the top of this hill. And there's a dance going on. There's a sexual feel. You're both just enjoying the game and the pull. This person makes me think of somebody who's going to snap if there isn't some sort of outcome. And I don't mean snap as in doing something bad, but just snap as in they are expecting there to be some physical contact. And I wonder whether this is where this mask card comes out, how your energy flows together. So that this person is going to put up with the playful sexual dance for a set period of time, I think, until they're going to say, you know, what you're playing at, what is actually happening between us, and when you're going to give me some, that type of feeling, or when are we going to share some love. That's what I meant to say there, because you're coming across as the High Priestess here and there's a masks here, so I wonder whether you just enjoy the foreplay, which can go on months and months. It doesn't have to be like, you know, foreplay before the act. It's more like foreplay that actually is just, you know, like months and months in coming, if you know what I mean. And your most likely outcome is, it's like a chess game. The most likely outcome is, and I'm thinking the Lovers card here, and I'm thinking this Six of Cups here with a connection, and this person feels the connection as if it runs really deep, which is probably confusing them because I think they're very straightforward. They may not be interested in that type of thing, but just feel it anyway because you can't deny it. And this, do you know what? I think your masks with regards to you are different. Your sort of masks may be as in you're playing it quite coy. Their masks are, I feel a sexual pull, and I'm trying to deny, this may be where their thoughts don't come in, I'm trying to deny the depth of the connection because I've never felt it before and life doesn't work in that way, that type of feel. But I do think there's going to be a lot of back and forth for quite a while, a lot of playing, a lot of trying to adjust yourself to see where you both fit in the situation. But with the Lovers card there, I wonder, it just feels, you've got the Lovers twice, it just feels like it's running down a track that regardless of whatever games you try to play, you're both going to end up in the same spot. So it's quite a nice pile. It has got this feeling about it. That is definitely the card that I would say sums up this pile. It's like a magnetic pull and an enjoyment for different reasons. You just can't pull away, and it just feels as if it's sparky. It is just that attraction that sucks people towards each other. And I think it's got some sort of history, if you believe in past lives or not. That's when it makes me think of a natural pull, an understanding of it, especially from your point of view with the High Priestess here. The Six of Cups here makes me think that there's just that familiarity and that ease of contact, which to you feels totally natural because you are definitely more aware than your person, and to them just feels like I can feel it but I don't understand it. It's just really strange here. You know, this Mask card here, I've just put this card over it. Reciprocity Avenue. And it just makes me think that you are both playing the game. And I wonder whether with, you know, in the Rider-Waite, there's somebody giving something and the scales, and there's one person, you know, on their knees. And I wonder whether you're taking turns, is what I'm trying to say. I wonder whether you're taking turns to play the game. And that is what gets you both going. It could be a very fiery, airy pile where you are quite airy airy, and you almost fan their flames in some way, and you can almost, you know, with these cards here, what gets this person going. And you've got the High Priestess here, and they're the King of Wands here. So it makes me think that you're very aware of what you're doing and the part you're playing, and you're enjoying it. And they're just seeing it for what it is in some ways with regards to sexuality, but they're still playing because they're expecting it to come to some sort of physical, straightforward prize. Don't take this the wrong way, because it doesn't mean that you have to do this, or and especially if you're young, you know, it's just, who cares what their expectations are? What do you want is what I'm saying. What do you want? You must only do what you want to do. But it's a game, and I think you're both really enjoying it at the moment. But as I say, any relationship, you know, you only do what you want to do. Don't give to somebody else if it doesn't feel right. Sorry, the camera just clicked off. I must have been talking for half an hour. The game is going to be that they're unnerved by the emotional pull, and you're probably got that airy feel of just enjoying the game for what it is. And you know what it is. Right, Power One, I'm going to finish there. I hope that helps in some way, or gives you something to think about, maybe, I don't know. But it is very exciting feeling from both points of view. Okay, right, I'm going to finish there, pile number one. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again. Bye. Right, I'm just going to start talking pile number two before I actually go through the cards. I always think I will look at the cards properly, and then I'll talk when I know what I'm talking about, and I can't help it. I just can feel or send something at the beginning, and I don't know if I need to retract it later, but I'm just going to go anyway. It makes me think of a friend or somebody you know already, or somebody very sweet-natured that there's a connection with, and it's almost very tentative, as if they're watching and waiting and wondering where it's going to go. It's got that, your person has a very sweet feeling of being very gentle-natured. And it also makes me think if it's a friendship group, that by getting closer together, by your relationship basically progressing together, then it might split you up, or it might actually bring out anxieties in them, or I don't know. There's a feeling of softness and sweetness and connection, and then for you to be together, there's a feeling of anxieties and healing and movement. Now I will go. I have to say it because I forget things so quickly. Now I'm going to go through the cards bit by bit, which may feel a bit stilted, and then we'll pull it together. The real situation where you stand, the Eight of Wands makes me think that there's good communication between the pair of you, that you share. It's making me think with these cards here, common values, where you just get on well. Maybe some history here. It's just that feeling of excitement of getting together, and with the Mercury and Sagittarius being an immediate connection where you basically, it makes me think of somebody who comes on, knocks on your door, and it's not like that, oh my God, who is it? It's like, oh hi, come in, and you just get your coat on, you go out somewhere together, and it's very natural, and you're walking down the road and you're chatting, and it just, to other people watching, you just look like fantastic friends, and it just flows easily, and there's excitement, and there's like that spark in both of your eyes. That's what it makes me think of. So the real situation where you stand, I wonder whether you feel this. There's the connection there, and exciting, and it feels forward moving. It just feels fun. They're coming along in this spread as their feelings for you, or the situation from where, it's not their feelings, the situation from where they stand is, it's fulfillment, but they're seeing it more as an emotional fulfillment. It makes me think of those really old-fashioned films, not old-fashioned films, I don't know who makes these films, but they're very sort of on the TV Christmas, those British films that are very Hugh Grant, very feel good, you know, and people look as if they've got there. It's snowing. It doesn't snow that often here. It's like snowing in London, and people are going down these like look like typical London streets, not the ones where you know you actually live. That those sort of streets are really expensive. And these two people are just in love. It's as if everything's a fairy tale in your eyes and their eyes. It's just a relationship that sparks, feels good, and you're in posh coats and you're arm in arm walking down this street, and it just looks like some sort of film set. This is how you two, there's a fantasy feel, there's an excitement here that does actually feel like a really good Christmas film. Right, let me just go on to their thoughts are still very... This is how they see the relationship is very watery, very intuitive, very much feeling with their heart rather than thinking or feeling with their crotch. The High Priestess here again makes me think that there's a real connection between the pair of you that's very soft, very sweet, very knowing. There's a sense of understanding, and there's a real sense of a deep intuitive link. It's like when you put the words into their mouth and vice versa before you actually say anything. It's the type of thing when you pick up the phone and they've just picked it up at the pick up the phone. I'm so old fashioned. Look at that. Pick up the phone. You don't do like that, do you? Really old fashioned phone. It's like one of those ones when you have to go like that to dial. And they're at the end of the other line exactly the same time. That type of feeling. And a bit like pile number 1 with the High Priestess here, it's as if there's the familiarity with regards to how this person sees it, especially if they're very watery, which I get a sense if they may not have lots of water in the chart, but there's something to do with an emotional connection here. It makes me think that there's an awareness of the familiarity, just feeling as if you've spent lives together. You know, when you meet somebody, it doesn't really matter where you meet them, and you're on a train and you just click straight away. And it's almost, especially if you're a bit anxious, which I wonder whether there is with this person, whether they almost question it a lot. They think, oh my God, have I been too familiar? Have I made them feel uncomfortable? Yeah, I know that feeling. Now, this is the bit I don't understand, and I had to put extra cards in it, and I still don't understand it, but I will go back to it. So their thoughts are that a real emotional connection and an understanding that there's a depth there, and the only way I can interpret this and the whole pile is their feelings of death, and it makes me their feelings of death, but it does make me feel, and these give a real anxious feel to it. So I wonder whether one of you is already in a relationship, or this relationship is difficult in some sense to reveal it, and that's the only things I can think at the moment, because the death makes me think that to move forward with you or to express their feelings to you more so, but I think they already are expressed, that there has got to be some sort of change in another area of this person's life or your life. I'm going to go back to that because that seems very strong. I need to go back to that once again. Their desires, and I'm actually doing these piles, and I've actually got my other cards over here to look at what I would say they're more sexual cards, and I don't really feel like I need it with this pile because their desires are very emotionally strong. It's almost as if, it's not as if this isn't part of it, it's almost as sexuality isn't part of it, it's just something they don't feel that they would need to talk about, or or as if it would be very natural to express sexuality, rather than to have you give you a really bad reading on what I could interpret as your sexual contact with this person, because this person, this sounds really awful, but it makes me feel almost as if not they're above it, but they understand it and it's just natural. It gives me that earthy feeling that people have when they think about sex and they feel they don't need to talk about it. It's that feeling, as in, yeah, of course, there's the attractions there. It's that type of, it makes me feel a maturity in some ways. And I don't know whether it's age or whether it's just your attitude. There's like, yeah, okay, yeah, there's attraction there, fair enough. Don't even discuss it. That type of feeling. Because you have got for them the Ten of Cups, the High Priestess, the Death and the Sacred Heart. That is really hard for me to try and pull out a rumpy-pumpy read. And I'm really sorry if you've come for it for that reason. But at the moment, I can't, without lying to myself. The future influences, oh, here we go. Let's try it now. The Knight of Wands is some... Hey, let me get my cards back out. The Knight of Wands is somebody who is very straightforward in their sexuality. Woo-hoo, at last. So somebody who feels very easily. And it's got the kind-hearted mood, so it wouldn't surprise me whether their emotions come into what you could possibly term as their sexuality. So it's somebody who falls in love first before the relationship is consummated, if you know what I mean. Consummated. So I just stopped talking and looking at the card. The Knight of Wands is two little birds here, real connection, which very much fits in with the softness and the smoothness and the emotionality and the real attraction here. That is something a little bit deeper and a little bit stronger than just like, oh, I fancy you. But there's still the Knight of Wands here, still that feeling of a physical pull. But it's actually almost wound up and bound in feelings. And the Knight of Wands is somebody who likes to have an adventure, who likes to move forward. So it's not as if the physicality, which I haven't discussed, is like something that needs to be put in a back burner. It's there and it's obvious, but I don't think it needs to be talked about with regards to this pile. It's like, yeah, it's straightforward. Of course that's going to happen. Of course I'm attracted to you. You know, why are you asking me? It's still that feeling. Their intentions are Ace of Swords, so I'm wondering whether this person is going to actually tell you what they're feeling and what they're thinking. And it's going to happen very soon. It's almost as if, especially with the Death card here and these sort of, I would say, anxiety cards here, I wonder if there is some issue with you getting together, whether there's going to be some sort of clarity or some sort of communication or conversation to almost try and clear this up, or just to basically express what you're both thinking, what you're both feeling. It makes me think of somebody who's really smooth in the way that they talk, somebody who's very kind. It has that Pisces feeling of somebody who sits there and accepts you as you are, warts and all. Even if you say something really disgusting, it's like, yeah, no, I understand that. It's that type of feeling. And the conversation to me with regards to this death is like something that needs to happen, even though it might be hard with these the Six of Swords and the Nine of Swords there. The best outcome, I would guess, is with the cards being very sweet, very open, very mature, and then the Death card there and the Ace of Swords, it makes me think there's going to be some sort of balance, even if the relationship, I haven't really looked at these cards here, even if the relationship doesn't move forward, as if there's going to be, it just makes me think of maturity, like a conversation that goes something like this. You're ready? A conversation that goes, you know, I know that I'm attracted, we're both attracted to each other, and it's really obvious, and I know that we can't do anything with it. And I don't know why I'm saying that, because this Death card, Eight of Cups, and this Balance card makes me think that it's very grounded in reality. It's like, let's just see what happens. Let's not burn our bridges. Let's not burn possibly our other halves, or our families, or our children. It's that type of fear. It doesn't have to be that commitment outside of yourself. It could be work. I don't know. But it makes me think the Death card here. And you've got the Eight of Cups here. So how your energy flows, anxiety and almost turning your back and moving away. It's as if it makes me think of a really sweet, deep soul connection that is not like magnetic as in magnetic. It's like this. It's moving really slowly towards each other because you both have something else, or one of you has something else that means it can't get any closer, and you're just happy and content to work alongside each other. There's no game playing. It's just like I can see you, I feel you, and it feels right. You feel good, and I don't want to see you in pain by having to push myself on you, because there's a strong feel, and it's coming from both of you. And Ten of Cups here as well, which is at the bottom of the pile. I wonder whether there are families involved, whether there's attraction there, and it's pulling and it's pulling, and you've stopped, you know, like a train track, you're parallel here, and you can't get any closer, and there's just a really deep respect for each other. Yeah, it just makes me feel that the Queen of Pentacles is somebody who is very grounded, very respectful, very much in charge of herself or himself. It's just somebody who is earthy and not greedy for something that isn't the right time yet to have. And the Hermit makes me think of somebody who is very aware of who they are and what game they're playing. There's just that sort of knowledge and awareness and understanding of life. And then the Five of Cups is you may lose something, but there's still that cup there standing. So yeah, without doubt, I don't know. This is such a strong feeling. So if this isn't your pile, I don't really think it is your pile. It's a feeling of respect, maturity, emotional feelings, security, but almost kindness, really deep felt kindness, honesty, and the inability to hurt each other. It's as if you're this close, and I've said this 3 times, my hand's like this, I'm like some clapping monkey. You're this close and you're happy with it for the moment, because to get closer would upset the apple cart, and you wouldn't want to hurt each other, and you wouldn't want to hurt, maybe with a Ten of Pentacles here, other members of your families or their families. That feeling, it doesn't have to be families, it could be just a connection, which could be just good friends, and it's just you just don't want to lose that friendship. It's just that feeling of running like this and having to be happy with it because of who you are, and that sense of, when you want something when you're a kid and you really want it, and you'd actually just bite somebody's leg off to get it. There's nothing of that in here. It's like I want it, I really want it, but I'm happy with what I've got. And it's that, as you say, is that the cup half full, I don't know, half empty. It's basically just one cup standing, and you're happy with that. You know that you can't have it all. There's 2. It's better. You can't have it all, but there's an awareness and there's a real solid feel about you that just says, that's fine. That is just fine for the moment. And the sweetest thing in this pile is just the clarity that you both know it, you both feel it, and you're both happy with it for what it is at the moment. I don't know how long this would go on with you feeling content. Right, pile number 2. I'm going to finish there. I hope that made sense. I know it's very specific, and I don't know whether it's a friendship or whether it's a relationship that can't move, or just a relationship that is just running parallel at the moment and you don't want to upset the apple cart, but I don't really know. Anyway, I hope it does ring true for somebody. Please let me know in the comments section. Thank you for joining me today, and hope to see you again. Bye.
La música de Harry Fraud.
Right then, pile number 3. There's a feeling here of, I would say, playing with each other, but it's not like, although you've got the Sun card here, it's not like playful children playing, it's like playing in order to understand what's going on. So their deepest thoughts and secret desires. Let me just pick my way through it and see what I can see, and then we'll sum it up, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more fluid as it goes on. The real situation where you stand, you've got the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is the Charlotte here with weaving the web, and it's as if you've caught something. It seems very strange as well down here for their desires is a butterfly, and this person has coming across as the Page of Pentacles. The page makes me think it's something that's beginning to flourish, and you've clocked it, being more aware, being the spider, weaving the web. And if this is their desires and they're flourishing, it's like a metamorphosis, as if you've clocked it and you're trying to grab it or understand it, and it's only just started. It's beginning to turn into this butterfly. I don't know if you can hear this. It's as if somebody's got some loudspeaker outside the house. What's that? I live in the middle of nowhere. I've no idea. Right, let's go on. The real situation where they stand is the Hierophant. The Hierophant here has a very traditional feel. It's normally the person who relays information, and it's normally quite profound information. They have the keys, they have the understanding, and they do it in a very conventional way, a very sort of everything is correct order way. So if this is you and this is them, you both know what's going on. The High Priestess here is how your energy flows. There's a real knowledge, there's a real understanding between the pair of you. This is what makes me think of playing. It's as if you both know these cards are really strong feeling about it. This card has a strength of feeling, but in a very soft way, in a very much a way of sitting back, feet up, head back, cup of tea in your hand, just sort of daydreaming about each other. This card has more intent to it. This one, especially from you. This one has a controlled content. What did I say? This has more content. I don't know what I mean by that. The higher you have more, I don't even know what word I said. There's control in your thoughts with regards to this connection. They have the understanding of the connection, but they're going to do it in a more sort of conventional, steady manner. A bit sort of Queen of Pentacles down here. But there's definitely awareness. Right, number 3. I don't get this bit. This reading is on their thoughts. So you must know better than I do. The Five of Wands, if its thoughts are of conflict, of conversations, it makes me think with the jagged, what is that? I can't read it. Basically, I think it's a cactus. It makes me think of spiky conversations. It makes me think of words that have hurt. It makes me think of snippy arguments. So I don't know whether things have been said with regards to what makes this feel like a game being played, where there's been some terse. And with this, okay, there's been some terse clarity. There's been what makes me feel of something very short and said very quickly and with a lot of clarity here. And then it's all a feeling of independence and pulling back and coolness. Let me just keep going. And then I will just pick through it and then come to it in the end and try and sum it all up. Their feelings are wanting to understand. And I just said here there's understanding. It's like an eternal search. This turtle here is swimming through the water, and for some reason its flippers have torches. It's an understanding. It's like swimming through the depths and wanting to know. This person is driven in this relationship by wanting to know exactly what is going on. It's like doing a jigsaw puzzle. It's like weaving the web, trying to get this person in your web, and neither of you really know. There's too much wanting to know what's coming next. There's some friction here with this Five of Wands. There's some friction, and I don't know whether there's been something said that was hit right where it should have, where it hurts, I was going to say, or where it should be. I don't know. The Sun here has clarity and distance again, and Okay, this is what it's making me think of. I can put a picture in my own head. It's two people attracted to each other, going along their business and knowing that there's a huge attraction. That you've come together and it's almost possible, well, it could possibly have been a spiky feel of either revealing your feelings and this person not really knowing what you're talking about, that type of being thrown back on their heel. I didn't expect that type of feeling. There's some clarity, there's jagged words and there's distance. And it makes me think these words have been quick or short rather than a conversation that you've both sat down and discussed something. This is what I'm getting so far. Their feelings were just flourishing, I think, when something has thrown them back. I think something's been said, some truth has been said, or what you both felt at that time was truth, or you've found out something, or they found out something, and the feelings are flourishing. You're still trying to nurture them. They are too in a different way, in a more sort of down-to-earth way. And then I think something has happened that's almost jarred them in some way. For desires here, this is your desire card. You've also got the Empress and you've got Queen of Water. So the desires here are what I would say somebody who likes to have control, may have that sort of Emperor quality, or that need to look like they are functioning in the outside world in a very conventional, very organised fashion. And they are drawn towards what I would say is your more feminine, male or female, more feminine qualities. And to be honest, with this card here, with how you see the relationship, it makes me think that you're very sort of receptive. What is that music? Sounds like something out of Space Odyssey. Receptive in the way that you try and get what you need out of this relationship. Very sort of feminine, watery feel about it. I don't mean feminine as in you're female, or, you know, it doesn't really matter, but it's that receptive feeling of getting what you want, not deceptive, but behind the scenes. It's somebody who pulls things towards them rather than directly goes after them. And I wonder whether that's the approach that you have to this relationship, and whether it's caused confusion and this clarity has had to be had in some way. I don't know, let me keep going. Right, the future influences. Strange here. There's something to do with your relationship and some sort of argument or something that has caused some upset. And I don't know whether... I'm going to have to put some more cards on these ones here. I'll tell you what I think here, then I'm going to put some more cards on here and then we can start summing it to get up a little bit. This person likes to be grounded, they like to feel stable, they like to know where they stand in a relationship. And with you, I think the attraction is there. They've been watching, they've been waiting. You're sort of very feminine in the way that you're approaching the relationship. I don't think there's a lot of directness. There's a lot of sort of moving behind the scenes and wanting to draw this person towards you. And I wonder whether your person coming across here is the Queen of Pentacles has somehow got really confused and taken something the wrong way, where they've actually, your distance has actually been interpreted as something else, when in fact it's just there's some clarity possibly has been brought into this relationship at a later point and they have a deeper understanding about it. It's like with desires, they're flourishing, but I do think there's been some misunderstanding in the past. Their intentions, I would think, are to either shake this relationship up and ground it in some way. All I can feel from this at the moment is a real need from them to understand what on earth is going on between the pair of you. It's quite a difficult read, to be honest. because you've got the Ten of Swords here for the most likely outcome, which makes me think with the Tower card here for their intentions is either one of two things, is to end it because they don't understand it, or to shake it up and almost catch you, because there's two prey cards here. But they're coming across as really conventional. Like the Queen of Pentacles and the Hierophant is somebody who likes to take their time and likes to know what's going on, not daydream about it and not take ungrounded actions. It's somebody who really wants to know, and there's feelings, there's desires are flourishing here. They're just at the beginning, but unless something is actually made a little bit clearer to them, it makes me feel that they're either going to say, this has got to end, or this has got to move forward. It's like an ultimatum feel here. And this hasn't talked about their thoughts and desires. Thoughts, yes. Desires, not so much. I can come back to that. Oh, no, okay. Desires. Their desires. There's something about your femininity, whether you're male or female, that really attracts them. The Page of Pentacles here is somebody who functions. The Queen of Pentacles here is somebody who definitely functions. This person's functioning in a very, I would say, not immature, but they're learning how to function. And you've got the Empress card here and the Queen of Waters. They're attracted to this in you. They're attracted to the fact that you're not direct and upfront, the fact that you are working towards them in a very I don't think they know what you're doing, but what you're doing is working. Sorry, this is a hard pile to read, but interesting. So how your energy flows together is very feminine. Their desires are, you've got the Empress card down here for their desires, and you've got the Queen of Water. So there's something extremely watery and receptive and feminine about you that attracts them, and this is just beginning to flourish. It's almost as if you are capturing them by, was it slowly catching monkey or something like that, that feeling. And then how your energy flows together is an understanding of what's going on. And it's as if this understanding is developing as the relationship moves forward. But it doesn't speak to me of somebody who is generally upfront about what's going on. But then you have got this, I wonder whether they have heard something from a third party, whether there's some sort of clarity come from a third party when they haven't actually understood what's going on, and they're still as if they're trying to feel their way through this relationship. These cards almost make me want to check. I've got meanings at the side of what each card means in which place, but to be honest, this is the only pile that it feels as if you need to just look at the cards as a whole, because it's just an unusual pile. But this is what, if I ignore, I'm going to keep these ones over here because this is the most likely outcome. And this is your energy flows together. I'm going to ignore that and just try and read them as I've got here. To me, it makes me think that you are very slowly moving towards them in a very feminine way, as in not that you are female, but there's a very receptive quality to the way that you actually pull partners towards you, or you are doing more so at the moment. This person with the Empress card here and the Page of Pentacles with the sort of mimicking the way that you're catching them is really attracted to the way that you are as a female energy. It sounds silly, doesn't it? But it's that real sort of, it's like somebody who has got a watery Venus. It's somebody who's attracted to people who, I can't think who are soft, caring, giving, indirect, receptive. There's a real sort of sensuality about water. There's a real sort of the way that you can almost stand there and pull people towards you. There's not that sort of direct conquest as like a fire field gives you. It's just somebody who pulls people towards them in relationships. And with this person coming across as the Hierophant here, and you coming across as the Empress down here, with regards to their deepest thoughts and their deepest desires, it may be a feeling of control. It may be that feeling that, like the Emperor and the Empress partnership, it's that type of control and femininity. It makes me think of when I used to read a lot about minerals and people who have certain amounts of minerals or like are, prominent in certain minerals tend to pick partners that complement that. So people who are very sort of dominant in iron, who have a lot of iron in their bodies, tend to be very forthright, very forceful. And if you've been anemic, you know what it feels like to not feel like that. To be honest, I can't remember the name of it, blah blah blah. I've got a friend who has too much iron. She's a PE teacher. She's like very forceful, very direct, very much let's get going, let's do it right, that type of feeling. But they tend to be drawn to people who have lots of copper, very flexible, very easygoing. I don't know this. It's just something that I like the image of, and it makes me think of you two. So their desire to you is their acknowledgement of your femininity. And I wonder whether some clarity has been brought into this relationship from an outside influence, and it could have been quite jarring. They may have found out that you're already with somebody. They may have found out that you had children. They may find out that you may not be interested in relationships or long-term relationships. You may just be happy on your own. Or somebody has said that to them, or you've said something to them. Because with that Tower card here and this sort of spikiness and clarity, and then I think you are somebody who keeps yourself very much to yourself, and you feel the attraction, but it's like a feeling of you may even get more than you bargained for here. Their secret desires are to understand you, and I don't think they are aware of how much their desires are going to overwhelm them, because you start off with this Page of Pentacles, and then you move on to this, and then you move on to this. So it's a real sort of watching. Look at that picture. Watching. You think that you're catching them with the mask here and this here, but I don't think that's going to be the case. It will be them catching you. You've got to decide I suppose what I'm thinking of, this card has a really, really unusual feel to me, this pile, sorry. And I think it would be for you to decide whether you want to be caught by this person. Because they are almost turned into jelly by your femininity. And that jelly is beginning to set, because you're going from the King of Pentacles. You've got the whole Pentacle family here. Where's the other little one with the face? Yeah. It's as if the jelly is beginning to set. Do you know what it makes me think of? I'm going to finish now because I've been talking for ages. I've just had a really strange thought what it makes me think of. It makes me think of Mr. Bolwood in, oh my God, yes, Far from the Maddening Crowd. It makes me think of, if you don't know that story, it's quite a hard one to read. It's, but just Google the synopsis of it in some way, and it will give you an inkling of the story. Mr. Bolwood is not particularly drawn to, I've forgotten the lady's name, and then she writes him a Valentine's card. She's like playing with him. She's like the web. She's playing with him, and he's slightly attracted to her, and then it just basically, he just becomes obsessed with her, and the whole film is about that connection. Not just about that connection, that's probably half of it. It's a real strong feeling of a relationship where the other person is not really sure what's going on. Then they may find out with that clarity card and that Sun card that you're attracted to them, and then it just snowballs and it becomes incredibly intense. You must watch the film. You've got a Mr. Bolwood here. And with those really, yeah, because he was he was a farmer, he was a landowner, very much the Pentacle card, somebody who didn't really think of relationships. And then he did think of relationships, and by God, did he think of relationships. And in the end, he actually, there's the Tower card as well. He shot her lover and walked himself to jail in the film. I can't remember what the book was. I read it over Christmas, but it was like hard going. So it's like an intensity that they didn't expect, and then it runs away with them. And I don't think you expected it either. I don't know if that rings true, because I don't know, I've just got carried away myself there. That was a really hard read to do, but a really strong feeling. Desires are huge, but they are almost like a tsunami that's just started.